Hey guys, welcome to another awesome backdrop and our purpose workshop with one of my best mates, Sara Rickards. We sent you guys a message earlier, but I'll just recap a little bit about Sara. So, from my personal experience, I've known her for over 10 years. She's always been a super big inspiration to me to give more fucks, and that's because she is the original fuck giver. She has a community of people which you can look up on Facebook called Fuckgiving. And so what she does is she allows people to unlock their own potential. So she doesn't tell you need to go and plant trees or pick up rubbish or go and look after old people. It's up to you to come up and figure out what really lights your fire. And that's what I love about her. She inspired me to move back from London when I was living there, working in a job that I wasn't really, wasn't lighting my fire at all. So I moved back to Sydney, and she's a massive reason as to why we're all talking together now, because I started chasing the 101 tokens dream and trying to get all you guys to come and join me and drink less and live more. So one of the brilliant things that Sara does is she, as I said, helps people find their purpose. So I thought, what a better friggin' way to help you guys out than to create a mini workshop in this beautiful Tasmania location that we've got, which is sick. Tassie's great if you've not been here. Well worth it. Real cruisy. But anyway, let's fire into it, Sara. Let's do some purpose finding.
Workshopping. Thanks for the beautiful introduction, Benny.
No worries.
Made me tear up early in the morning. Get my shit together. So yeah, purpose is like, I guess it's one of those interesting things that it can actually change throughout your life. But I like to think of it a little bit about the thing that gets me up in the morning, the reason for being, and also linking that back to like my legacy and how do I want to be remembered as a person. And so I have like just a few, I guess, simple exercises that you can do to get your purpose juices flowing. And so the first one, I'd encourage you to just take a moment and just think about the things that you do in your spare time, the things that you're doing when you're not getting paid, the things that you're researching, the activities that you're doing, and just take a couple of moments just to think about those. Jot them down if you've got a pen and paper, or write them in your phone. And just the first few things that come to mind is the things that you spend that spare time doing. You can think about it too, Benny.
I'll think about it. I'm doing it right now. I'm not getting paid to be here. It's been in Tassie and learning, becoming a better human.
So once you've got those things down, the reason why this activity can be good to start to unlock your purpose and your potential is because we often find that curiosity will lead to passion and will lead to purpose, and that's kind of like a nice way to sort of start to direct your focus into sort of scratching around the edges as to what your personal purpose could be. The other thing that I like to do with people is and the reason why Fuckgiving exists is because it's not about what we care about. We care about heaps of stuff. I care about nature and people and animals and grannies. But what I give a fuck about is completely, like, it encapsulates all of those things, but I give a fuck about unlocking human potential, and that makes me feel alive. So I encourage you to ask yourself, what do you give a fuck about? It can be one or two things, but think about that thing that really, really makes you feel alive and really makes you feel excited. And also write that one down as well if you're writing down your answers in your notebook or in your pen, on your paper.
Yep.
Okay, so the next tool is a little bit more, I guess, structured and maybe a bit more complex, and it's called the Ikigai. It's a Japanese word. It means reason for being or reason for getting up in the morning. And I believe Benny's going to overlay what this image actually is, but I'll just speak about it briefly. It basically means it's the nexus between what you're good at, what the world needs, what you love, and what you can be paid for. And when you find the sweet spot between all of those things, that can also be known as your purpose. It's easier said than done, but it's a really great way of starting to map out how you can actually start to live a life that is more congruent with what you love and what you actually do for work, and then contributing back into the world as well. So this one takes a bit more time. It can often be nice just to have as an image that you look at every now and then, or you can put it up on your wall and just start to really play with this framework to start to really understand where you're spending the most of your time. You might be spending most of your time just doing what you get paid for and not the things that you love, and even just starting to balance out those two things can start to unlock your potential more and obviously make you feel much more awesome. The other thing I like to, I guess, caveat purpose with is values. So my personal purpose, I've already said, is unlocking human potential. And I distinctly remember one of my first job offers being to work in an erectile dysfunction drug. And looking back, it's kind of like I had this visceral reaction to not wanting to do that because I wanted to, I guess, work on finding a cure for cancer or, you know, a disease that I felt would impact more people. And not to say that erectile dysfunction drugs don't impact a lot of people and can't like help make people's lives better, but I didn't quite understand how my body reacted to that and what was going on, and it actually came down to my values. So you need to kind of, I guess, once you start to unlock what your purpose is, starting to understand what your values are is also equally important. So there's a list of values that Benny's going to overlay here, and the best way to really think about these values is just to pick the 5 that really jump out at you. The 5 that you think, yeah, that's me. You know, it might be, you know, it might be equality or honesty or love. But yeah, think about what they are and start to understand what those values are. And the interesting thing about values is that they can actually show up in really positive and really negative ways. So one of my values is around equality, and so I suck in corporate structures and when there's boss and hierarchy, and it makes me not a very awesome person, is because I really like flat structures and even collaboration, and so that's how that shows up for me. So even though equality can seem like you know, it's an amazing thing to have in the world, there's also the negative side of how you react when your values are being triggered, and so that's another interesting thing to, I guess, explore. And the last exercise is I guess it's a bit deeper, and it's something that was the thing that I did for me to really understand what my purpose was and how I wanted to be in the world. And I actually just took some time out one day, sat under a tree, and I went really deep, and I just literally wrote out my eulogy and what I would want that to say and how I would want to be remembered in the world. And I really struggled to, I guess, like lean into that and to do that, and I knew that that's why it was so important, and that's why I actually needed to do it. And what came out was pretty epic and pretty hectic, but it's something that I think about most days as to that how do I actually want to remember for being in the world, and what would I actually want people to say at my eulogy. So I encourage you to take some time out and think about that, especially when, you know, you're getting frustrated, you might be hungover, you might have had one epic token last night. It's like, it's all good, today's a new day. How do I actually want to use this day? I want to make the most out of it, and how do I want to be remembered in this world? And so they're my top tips for finding purpose. Feel free to reach out to me if you want to unpack it a little bit more. Play with the tools. Purpose can change. It's not easy to find. It's easier said than done, but I hope this creates a little bit more space for you to help to unlock your potential, look at your values, and live epic lives.
Awesome. And we've also on another note, Sarah actually finished 101 tokens last year.
Woo!
She got her 101st token on 31st of December. Yeah. So, and it was a bit of a battle.
It was a total battle.
She went a bit too hard leading into December, so we had to come up with some pretty sweet strategies for the run into Christmas. So for you guys who are who've smashed it a bit hard, Sarah's also probably a good person to chat to about that kind of stuff. So, and there's a lot of support on our community. So, yeah, awesome guys. If you have any questions, as Sarah said, fire them in. And really looking forward to hearing more from you guys and really nailing our purposes in 2018.
Woo!
Woo! Thanks, Nate.
Thanks.
So sick.